Good morning, French students. Here is your lesson for Lesson 10, Part D, pages 156 and 157. Part D deals with l'article indéfini dans les phrases négatives. So we're dealing with the indefinite article in negative statements or sentences. So it says, compare the forms of the indefinite article in affirmative and negative sentences. So we have tu as un vélo, no, je n'ai pas de vélo. Est-ce que Paul a une radio? No, il n'a pas de radio. Vous invitez des copains demain? No, nous n'invitons pas de copains. Okay, so again, they kind of bolded what they wanted you to notice was happening, right? That the un became pas de, the un became pas de, and the des became pas de. Okay? So really quickly, before we kind of look at that a little bit more, let's review our indefinite articles. Remember, when we are using an indefinite article, we're not asking for anything specific. So the indefinite articles mean a or an in the singular or some in the plural. Remember, in English, we oftentimes leave our articles out, but in French, our nouns always have to have our article. The masculine singular indefinite article is un. The feminine singular one is une. And you just learned the plurals of these. The plural for the masculine one is des, and the plural for the feminine one is day. So, what we're talking about here is that in a negative sentence, okay, pas followed by an un, un, or des has to become pas de. So never in a negative sentence are we going to have pas followed by one of these words here. It'll always become a de. Note that pas de becomes pas d apostrophe before a vowel sound. Alice a un ordinateur. Paul n'a pas d'ordinateur. J'ai des amis à Québec. Je n'ai pas d'amis à Montréal. The negative form of il y a is il n'y a pas. So il y a means there is or there are. And so to make it negative, notice the N apostrophe goes in front of the Y and the pas goes after the A. So, dans ma chambre, il y a une radio. Il n'y a pas de télé. Il y a des affiches. Il n'y a pas de photos. After être, the articles un, une, and des do not change. And again, I'm never going to mark it wrong if you accidentally do that, okay? So, Philippe a un voisin. Eric n'est pas un voisin. Ce sont des vélos, ce ne sont pas des mobylettes. Right? So, Philip is a neighbor. Eric isn't a neighbor. These are some bikes. These are not mopeds. Remember negative sentences, okay? To make a sentence negative, our format is we have our subject, ne, our verb, our pas. Ne becomes an apostrophe before a vowel or a silent H. That's what you see happening right here, okay, with the N apostrophe. And just as a general reminder, right, our verbs always have to agree with our subject. That's why we see a here and sont here, okay? So again, all we're saying is that in negative sentences, so anytime we have ne, verb, and a pas, our article that's going to come after it is always going to be a de or a d apostrophe if our noun starts with a vowel or a silent H. If our article started out as un, un, or des. In this lesson, we also see an expression pour la conversation, so how to contradict a negative statement or a question. S'il vous plaît, répétez si, tu n'as pas de chaîne hi-fi, si, J'ai une chaîne hi-fi. So the question is asking, you don't have a stereo? Yes, I have a stereo. So it's a way to contradict. Somebody's asking you a question, they're expecting you to agree with them, and you're kind of contradicting them, okay, and saying yes. So that brings us to your homework, which is on page 156, exercise 10, and on page 157, exercise 11. For exercise 11, you'll have to write both the question and the answer. Exercise 10, oui et non. So yes and no is the title. This is going to be one you're going to write. And it says, one cannot have everything. Say that the following people do not have what is indicated in parentheses. So our example is Paul a un vélo and un scooter. So if Paul has a bike, he doesn't have a scooter. So notice this is kind of two things happening at once. Number one, we're going to add ne pas to all of our sentences to make them negative. So that's the first thing that we're going to do. The second thing is we're going to change, okay, whatever the noun is here to the new noun that's in the parentheses. And because these are all, okay, so we're going to change the noun. And then because these are all negative sentences, remember that after pas, we're always going to have either de or d apostrophe. We'll only have d apostrophe if it's before a vowel or a silent H. So if we take a look maybe at number 4, okay, we have Leah a une calculatrice. So Leah has a calculator, so she doesn't have a computer. So our sentence we would write is, okay, L. So our sentence becomes Elle n'a pas, and now we're changing une calculatrice to un ordinateur, and because ordinateur starts with a vowel, it's going to be the D apostrophe, d'ordinateur. So there's another example. So you're going to write out the sentences like this red example sentence in your book. For exercise number 11, le grenier, your friend is cleaning the attic. Ask if the following items are up there. Your friend, a classmate, will answer according to the illustration. So we have une raquette, which is a tennis racket. So we look for in the picture for a tennis racket, and there's not one. So you're going to write out both the question and the answer for this one. So the question is, est-ce qu'il y a une raquette? And no, il n'y a pas de raquette. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what part of this question is going to stay the same every time. Okay? So in the question, the est-ce qu'il y a is going to stay the same every time. And all you're going to change is you're going to put whatever the prompt is in your book after it. All right? How about the answer? For this answer, the answer was no because there wasn't a picture of the racket. Any of these that are negative will all start with no, il n'y a pas de. And remember, I just have to be careful because my de might become D apostrophe before a vowel or a silent H. Now, what is the answer going to be if the item is there? Then you're going to say oui. You'll write il, I, a, and then whatever the object is that they've given you. So if we take a look at an example, like maybe number 7, une télé. Une télé is a television. So our question is, est-ce qu'il y a une télé? And because there is one, then we're going to say oui, il y a une télé. If there wasn't, again, then we would start our answer with no, il n'y a pas. Au revoir, à demain.